Okay, cool. We're live. I'm gonna give this little intro. Hello, everyone. As promised, we're gonna talk about agent teams, a new Claude Code feature in we determined 2.1.3 something. And Nick Nisi is with me today and is one of the most just prolific uh, AI agent orchestrators that I know. Nick, why don't you start by just giving us like how many tokens have you generated in the last, I don't know, week, month, exciting period of time?
Oh my. Well, uh, Claude had recently just introduced this new insights feature, which will tell you things like that and how to improve your workflow with Claude. And I'm running it right now to get an up-to-date answer. But the last time I ran it in the last 36 days, I think I average about 3,000 messages to Claude a day, and
Messages.
messages, whatever that is. And in the last 30, so that's 111,000 messages over the course of 30 days or something.
That's
And we've
crazy.
changed over 6 million lines of code.
In what period of time? I mean, that's an insane number. I can't even wrap my head around that many lines of code changed. Like in what period of time?
I can't either, to the point where I think it's got to be wrong, right? There's just no way. But that's in 36 days. And 10 of those days, I was basically like completely out with the flu and the holidays. And so we'll say 26 days.
These are all like human generated messages, like not automated in any way. Like you're actually these have come from you into an input.
That is a good question. It seems like an awful lot, right? uh, I would have to say it has to be like, it either has to be wrong or it has to be including things like when it does some back and forth with me or something.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting. It has gotten, I think, harder, and I'm sure that this is by design, but it does feel like it's gotten harder to even evaluate any of these. What is a token at this point? What is a message? How many agents are going on at any given time? Like it feels so opaque, and it's
Oh
just
yeah.
like getting worse at this point.
Yes. It's just some made up thing.
They just roll the dice and give you a number. Speaking of, did you get a number back?
Oh, I am waiting. I have my old one, so I
And
can show that.
this is just your work account, right?
Yes.
You have two Claude Code accounts.
Uh, yeah, I have my work account, which is what I do most things on. Then I have a Max account for personal stuff.
Hmm.
And I also pay personally for API tokens. Right now, that is all going to my OpenClaw instance.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that actually just got turned off, so I have to go recharge that because that thing is hungry for tokens.
Yeah. What was that that limit that you had set?
I had it set to $100, and I have to refresh it, and this will be the third time refreshing it in as many weeks. So you got to
$100
figure out
a
a
week
better
then.
way. Yeah, I'm doing a lot with it though. It's really good.
Is the API usage, like, are you spending less than, like, how does that work with like the Claude Max plan?
I can put Claudebot or OpenClaw on that, and I think it'll just hit limits and like slow down or something.
Hmm.
I don't actually know. I'm using Claude enough in my personal time that I don't want it to be eating away from my limits there.
Yeah.
So I've been paying per for the API, and I just like charge it. You know, like here's $100 or something, and then
Got it.
you can go until it's gone, but it doesn't refresh without me explicitly going and doing that to protect
Wow.
myself.
So you have work. So this is like you got work, you got your OpenClaw bot
Hmm.
using API, and then you have your personal one, which you personally use for your personal things.
Me and OpenClaw. I have OpenClaw do a lot with Claude Code.
Crazy, crazy. Um, Well, hey, so we're here to talk about agent teams.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I know nothing about this, but you've been posting a lot about it, and so we thought, hey, this is fun new Claude stuff. So we could just kind of go live, share some workflows that you're playing with, and kind of maybe even get some feedback from other people with some cool things they're doing.
Yeah. So it's really cool. The agent teams piece of it, like if you've ever used things like trying to set up like a Ralph Wiggum bot or played with like Gastown, this is like a simplistic version of that that's available. Oh, it's finally ready.
Oh, generated you a website.
It did, and it did. I think it was broken the last time because you saw, I think. Oh, where did it go? My Windows just went crazy. Nope. Well, that was embarrassing. Okay. Oh my gosh. There. Yeah, when I ran it last time, it told me that I was sending 126,000 messages and changed 6.2 million lines of code across 93,000 files. But I just ran it
Insane.
in the same project, and now it's saying that I've sent 1,000. Oh, it reset to 8 days. That's why. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
1,000 messages in 8 days. That's crazy.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, the Claude bot, or no, agent teams. If you ever played with anything like Gastown or anything like that, it's like a way to kind of delegate tasks, and it does it in a little bit of a different way. And it's something that you have to specifically go in and enable because it's in preview mode right now.
Mm,
So you have to go into like your Claude settings or your like Bash profile and set Claude Code experimental agent teams, set that environment variable, and then it can use it. And there's one other piece that you can set, and that is teammate mode. And the default is in process, but I use Tmux, so I wanted it to use Tmux for that. And that way, when it spawns all of these agents, it's just going to spawn them in different Tmux windows, so you can kind of watch everything, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, sick. So you can use Tmux to like jump between the like kind of backgrounded processes.
Oh yeah,
And it automatically closes them up and stuff
it
too?
does.
Or
Yep, it's super
dude, you
cool.
just sold me. Anything Tmux, I'm in. I'm in.
Yes, awesome. Um, so one use of that, like there are some caveats to when it can be used and things like that. So it has to be things that it can do in parallel. It's not going to do like work tree branching or anything like that. So it has to be things
Okay.
that it can parallelize inside of the one like working directory that you're working in.
Yeah.
And that is something for this. I'm going to turn on fast mode so that we get faster responses as we're waiting for this.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah, that's another feature, a new feature in the latest like 4.6 model.
What is
Opus
the
4.6.
TLDR on fast mode?
You pay a lot more, but you get faster
Oh
responses.
shit. Wow, yeah.
I think
Damn.
if I run it again, uh, it's 50% off right now. Normally it's $60 per million input tokens and $225 per million output tokens, which is insane.
That's insane. So it's just same model, just fast lane, and you pay for it's like a carpool lane sticker or something like that, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Whew.
justify it for this as a good use of fast mode. So we'll run it.
It's
um,
crazy.
but this project itself is just to kind of give some context, and we'll try and get it to go from there. This is a prototype that I'm working on called WorkOS Skills. And it's a set of skills focused around the WorkOS docs for all sorts of different things. And so we've got 39 different skills in here. And of course, I didn't write a single one of them. Instead, there's a whole lot of infrastructure around here to make it so that we can generate these in an intelligent way and then validate that they are actually useful skills, and that in a way that we can, when we like regenerate it, if the docs haven't changed, don't like just go completely rewrite the skills again, because it would result in different skills every time and kind of just be
Mm.
chaotic. So it does some neat little like hashing to validate whether it should update a skill or not.
This is something that I've been thinking a lot about, like the how to kind of set a project up right so that you can kind of regen at any time in any technology, but have a like deterministic like output. Uh, I've actually been thinking about this a lot. There's this talk by Fat from like Twitter, GitHub, Bootstrap fame,
Yeah.
and I mean this was like forever ago, and he was talking about when they forked Mustache into Handlebars. I think. I mean this is a deep cut. Um, and he's giving a talk, and he was saying something to the extent that like uh, the library is the test suite.
Hmm.
And that, like, stuck in my head as, like, the things that actually transcend libraries are the, like, evals or the tests or the way that you can, like, regenerate a total different project, different, like, maybe different subtly different constraints or outputs or languages, frameworks, etcetera, but then still end at the same result, um,
Yeah.
in terms of, like, the API, the interface, the expectations, etcetera. Um, so it sounds like you're kind of chasing a similar thing right now where you want to be able to kind of set the constraints for a project and only manage those and not the code.
Correct. So what I'm doing right now, I just wanted to show kind of the problem that I'm showcasing. If we use this excellent um, skills tool for like MPX skills add WorkOS skills, you can see that it found 44 skills to add. And so it's like WorkOS, admin portal, API, admin portal, like all of these different API ones, Next.js, all of the SDK ones. And so it's kind of a lot to be going through, right? And if we just add them all, which is ideally what we would want you to do, it's really going to pollute things because each one of these has a description in it. And that
Hmm.
description is going to be loaded into context every time so that it understands when it should use each of these. But actually, this top level one, WorkOS, that is the router that will kind of route to the skills that should be used. So it kind of like is like, are you talking about WorkOS? Okay. Then in here, if you're talking about SSO, then that one will load the API SSO. And so I think I made a mistake in this, in that we're just exposing too many skills and people aren't
Hmm.
going to like that or appreciate that we're kind of polluting the skills namespace there. So I'm telling Claude right now that I'm concerned that we have too many skills, and exposing them all at the top level, um, and maybe some other relevant ones might be a better approach. And I'm going to specifically tell it, let's use the ideation skill to come up with a plan. And so this is uh, a skill that I created that helps me just like get to the bottom of what I actually want, so that me
Hmm.
and the model are like understanding each other as to
Mhm.
what it wants. I think I talked about this before, but it basically like validates that it has greater than 95% confidence as to what I'm asking for and how to actually implement it. And so it's just going to do a quick read of it. And the reason I'm using this too is because it's really set up to identify places for us to do some parallelization so that we can use the agent mode. Agent teams mode
Okay,
to do
got it.
that.
Okay.
So it's asking me right now
So
some questions.
yeah, and so this skill, do you have this? Is this a public skill, like an open source skill that you like have shared?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
you can just do npx skills add and then Nick Nisi Claude plugins, and it'll be right in there called ideation.
Nice. Now, I wanted to kind of circle back to like just so I fully understand where the downsides of having a lot of skills that you share with people or like
Mhm.
make available to people are is like one, there's just the you're going to get like 500 work OS skills in your drop down list, which could be very irritating to filter through. Um, or just kind of like pollute the namespace for other things that you're going to search API for or whatnot. Um, but then second, you mentioned something that I hadn't thought about before, but like it actually adds a description, like it actually puts into context the description for all of those skills.
Correct. So you can see right here in my Claude. This is a custom like Claude toolbar or status line, I think they call it. And I've got a little bar here. I'm using the 1 million token context window for Opus, so it's slowly filling. It doesn't have anything in there yet. But we were concerned about filling that up, especially if you're just using the regular 200,000 context window size. That can fill up pretty quickly. And so like this one, this migration script skill from Stitch to WorkOS, it has a description in there, migrate to WorkOS from Stitch. So if we said something along those lines, it would automatically load this skill. And that's how the model kind of figures out which skills to use at any given time.
Got it. So while it might be not realistic, hypothetically, you could fill up your whole context window just with skill descriptions if you had a big enough directory of skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, we'll just tell it. I'm just kind of going through. We'll keep those. Should the router also consolidate related skills? We'll keep them separate. Okay. And so it's doing some thinking here, hopefully in fast mode. So we go pretty high. Now it has a confidence level of 97 out of 100. So it knows exactly what we want to do. And it's going to create this skill consolidation docs page. And specifically in there, it's going to be a contract. So we'll look at that contract that it creates. Oh, I have to tell it to go ahead and do that. So it just creates like a high level contract of like what we want in here.
Okay.
And, you know, it's got the problem statement, what we're actually trying to solve, the goals that we have. We want to reduce the exposed skills from 39 to 7 in this case, and what the success criteria looks like for that. So we'll do all of this, and then specifically what's in scope and out of scope, and potentially what we might consider for the future. And it has this as a status of draft. So I can review this on my own. And then over here, it's patiently waiting for me to approve it or to change it or add missing scope, or you can just go chat about it some more. But in this case, we'll go ahead and approve it. Usually when I'm like going through the conversation with it, I kind of know before I even read the contract whether it's going to be good or bad. So I can usually just kind of not necessarily blindly, but almost blindly agree to it as we go. And then what it's going to do is it's trying to understand like how we're going to accomplish this. And it specifically wants to break it up so that it's in manageable pieces so that we can like clear the context between each one and then reload it with a fresh context, and that they're small enough that we can test them like independently. So we won't move on until we're sure that like phase 1 is ready to go. We won't hit phase 2 and phase 3 or whatever until that's all ready.
Interesting.
So now it's writing the spec. In this case, I think it only has one spec. Oh yeah. It'll just be a single spec. So this didn't, well, we'll see. We'll see if we can coax it into doing some team stuff, because what it does is it will try and identify like parallel phases that it can run simultaneously. And I thought that this would be a good one because these are all like independent skills, and it would be able to like modify them or change them in different ways. But I think it's understanding that these are generated, so it's going to work on the generation script rather than the skills themselves to get that. But we'll say execute the phase, use agent teams to do parallelization whenever possible. So we'll just have it go and do that and see what it's going to do. So it found 2 independent work streams that it can work on, which means it'll start up 3 different skills. 3 different agents. One is the manager, and then 2 that'll be doing parallel tasks. And the managers are the one that we can really start playing with. So right now,
can you give them names and like personalities, like Mr. Manager?
Kind of. You can see that this one is called Team Lead. And no, these are team leads. They're talking to it, I think. The team lead is over here on the left, and then this one is the plugin manifest build task, and this one is the rewrite WorkOS skills task. So it kind of renamed the windows or the splits in Tmux. I'm kind of figuring this out because it totally changed my Tmux like theming in here, and then
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
that's less than ideal for me. I'm very particular about it. But the cool thing is, like, while these are running, they can um, talk to each other and they can talk to the manager, and the manager can ask me questions as it's going. But it looks like it had already finished one thing and now it's waiting on the other. So this one will probably die here in just a second, the manifest updater. Yep.
Crazy. It's so weird to watch. I feel like this is so like it's a strong visual of like science fiction where you just spawn things for one purpose and then they just despawn. Like
Yes.
so wild to see it happen.
It's like if you've ever watched like Rick and Morty, uh Meeseeks, Mr. Meeseeks.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man.
So yeah, it did what I wanted. This was a pretty easy task for it, so it finished pretty quick. But we did get to see that, and then I usually tell it to commit, but I'll have it do some checking and things like that. So in this case, I'll tell me the command to generate and refine. We'll run that on our own here to see what it's outputting.
Mhm.
This project, I was pretty excited to play around with Bun to just
Yeah.
be fast, and also we're doing a lot of like file IO, and the APIs are pretty nice for that. But this is going to run, and it's going to regenerate all of our skills, and then this refine will actually send them to a model to improve them.
Hmm.
And the way that it's doing that right now is we actually create an LLMs.txt file for all of our docs at WorkOS, and an LLM's full that is just massive. It's like too big for any model to reasonably load, and you shouldn't use it. But we're using it for this to understand the different sections of our docs and to break it up. And it's breaking them up by section and understanding what should go into create each of the different skills that we have. And then once it creates that, it's going to like basically tell it to look at those look at the docs for that, and then use the model to provide like actually interesting or relevant things to wrap around it so that we can um, actually make like useful skills that aren't just regurgitating the docs everywhere.
Mm.
And so it's telling it, what documentation to fetch, when to use it, the prerequisites, an implementation guide that'll kind of tell you like the general tasks that it should follow. And all of this is using, like, when it goes into the refiner, which it's doing right now, it realized that one skill is below the quality threshold, so it's updating that, and it's refining 32 other skills, 5 at a time. And
Wow.
it's using Claude to do that, and it's specifically using Claude's skill builder skill, so that we get like what Claude expects a good skill to look like.
Mhm.
So it'll like reformat all the content to be like that and not be like overflowing with too much information that's not relevant. It'll be more like what is relevant and what it can be useful as it points it to relevant docs for whatever work that we're asking it to do.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a comment from I'm gonna botch this, but Junaid, which says one of the issues is that at compaction, agent team's context is lost, and the
Mhm.
leader forgets it gave tasks to other agents that exist. Have you had a problem with that?
Not yet.
Okay.
And I can tell you that probably the reason is that once the 1 million token context window was added, I have been using that, so
Oh, sure.
I don't run into compaction right now. That
So
is a very privileged thing to say, I'm sure.
that is a really good point. But like you said, the standard one for like Opus, like the sorry, I'm so confused about the models right now. But I think you were saying the standard context window is 200K,
Yeah.
and that the expanded one is a million.
Yes.
Okay, so significantly more.
Yeah, quite a
Yeah,
lot. You can see that like in all of that, and we didn't do a ton honestly, but I'm only using 9% of
got
the
it.
context window, and that resulted in 3,700 lines changed.
Wow.
That could also be this script that's running that's doing a bunch of regeneration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, the one thing, like it's going through and refining and re-evaluating a bunch of these, but I mentioned that it's not going to be doing that all the time. Like I wanted a way to protect it so that we're not just like completely rewriting every skill every time. And
Yeah.
so when it breaks the LLM's full dot text into different chunks, it's creating a SHA from those chunks. And then if that SHA is different than this comment that it puts in here,
Mhm.
then it knows to regenerate this file. Otherwise, it leaves it alone if they're the same because nothing changed in the doc. So it'll keep it the same, and we can just update the pieces that have actually changed as we go forward. And of course, all of this is experimental. I'm still like in the testing phase to validate that these are actually like worthwhile skills to ship and maintain. But so far, it seems pretty promising. It's just a big surface area that I'm trying to consolidate now.
Yeah, so I want to maybe address like an area of confusion for me, which is
Yeah,
like so Claude Code has historically like spun up a bunch of agents for various tasks. Agent teams, you're saying, will always spin up at least one additional agent, which is like the manager,
yep,
which is effectively your proxy for the for any questions. Is that
that's right. Yeah,
understanding close?
yep. The like the sub agents that will pop up, those can run, and you can run several of those, but they're kind of isolated in terms of they can't communicate with each other. And I think that they can do some minimal checking with you,
Okay,
but it's not a lot. But they spin up and do a task and then die.
got
These
it.
can do like more longer running things where we didn't see it because this was a pretty simple, pretty simple setup. But if they were asking for different permissions things, they can ask the manager who can ask me, or I can go in and I can chat with each individual one. Like you saw, I had a chat window there
Interesting.
for each one of them,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
could guide them to a different outcome, and they could then communicate with others. Like if you had a one that's writing the code and one that's writing the tests, they can communicate with each other. And if we like go change something about how the code is, like it can send an update to the test one and tell it like, oh, we're doing it this way now, and it can refactor from there.
Interesting. Interesting. So, I it flashed pretty quickly for me, but like you can so because it opens all of those into Tmux windows,
Mhm.
you can go in and then directly communicate with any of the agents as if it was your only agent,
Yep.
and and kind of steer that particular task as it's happening. Otherwise, it would bubble up through the manager as it had questions.
Yes, correct. And you can do that
Interesting.
all with if you use the in process mode where it's not using tmux, it'll kind of do the same thing. And they have different ways of navigating to talk to each of the agents, so you don't have to use tmux to do all of that.
Sure, sure.
Just a big fan of tmux.
But Tmux is great. Why wouldn't you want to use Tmux? Do they have other do they allow for other window managers as well, or is it just Tmux
Just those
or
two right now. Yeah,
multi-terminal multiplexers? Sorry, just wanted to, get that straight.
that would be what screen as the only other one really, and then like your kitty like
Yeah,
native
that's true.
UI. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's another one. I keep hearing of this other a name of another one recently. Um,
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't
yeah,
think of
what
the
is it?
name. Zellage.
Zellage. Dude, I'm glad your brain still works. So you're
uh,
offloading all of the coding stuff to agents.
yeah, I my brain is pretty smooth at this point. I don't know. Zellage. I always get in trouble when I say things, but I feel like that's for people who don't want to learn Tmux, and I'm too broken with Tmux to go any other way. Like it's a very prescriptive Tmux is the way I viewed it for the
Oh, I
5 seconds I looked at it, and it's not my prescription for Tmux, so I
yeah.
shunned it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. There's so many. I remember I bought a Tmux book one time, and it
Yeah.
was it was tiny. I think I still have it. Yeah, it's right here.
Brian Hogan, I think.
The Brian Hogan one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's super good. But I thought it was so funny that there's like half of this book is configuring away from defaults.
Yes.
Like it's not that thick, and half of it is like changing the defaults, which I found
Yes.
super odd, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like how close to defaults are you?
Oh, I'm so far from defaults. The default is like Control B as your prefix.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the silliest thing in the world. Like Screen got that right with Control A, and then you remap caps lock to Control, so they're right next to each other. But boom, it's so easy.
See, I actually disagree with this. Like pretty heavily, just because like so I use Dvorak as my keyboard layout, and so B is on the right hand. It's like right hand index down,
Okay.
and Dvorak effectively forces you to always have two hands on the keyboard. There's no like all of the keys are all over the place compared to like compared to a Mac. So I actually like having like like two hand commands, and the Control A thing is like weird even at the escape side. Anyway, that's
I didn't know
that's
this about you, and I feel uncomfortable on this stream now. I'm sorry.
that I use the stock binding for T-Box or
That and Dvorak, like I'm learning so much.
I know. I openly admit that it was a mistake.
No, that's great. I have never gone down that route, and I'm afraid to, because I get like hyper fixated on things, and I'll just like
Yeah.
be this like Dvorak shill forever. And
Well, you're better for not having fixated on that. All right, what do we want to go to next?
yeah, so it worked. It rewrote a bunch of skills and improved them, um, you know, as best as it could. So now the fun part comes of like, did this actually improve things? Are things better?
Mhm.
Etc. And time will tell on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like a fun thing, that I've been playing with recently, is trying to like, we're effectively, when you're using all of this stuff, you're working with like non-deterministic data. And so like, I don't know
Yeah.
how it's going to generate time to time, and it could have a bad weather day and just be really bad one day. Claude's totally never done that before. Why does granola keep popping up? But so yeah, I need like a way to protect against that. And like in
Mhm.
another project that I'm working on, that is the one we've talked about before, is the WorkOS CLI. I kind of have a similar problem where I'm like building this AI installer so you can run it in any project, and it will install Authkit into that project, or WorkOS APIs into that project, so that you can just hit the ground running and go with it.
It's
And
fabulous, by the way. We just made a video about it. I've used it at least twice on projects, and it was so nice. It was like npx create next app, and then workOS, npx workOS.
nice.
Done. Easy. Ship it.
That's awesome. And like you saying that like gets me so scared, because I'm like, oh, did it work that time? Like there's a lot of like anxiety around that, right? Because I can't be
Yeah.
sure. So I actually got on a call, like a sales call, and we were trying to like show off the AI installer. And like, long story short, it installed on the third try, it installed correctly, but instead of installing into their app, it like generated an app within their app and then installed correctly into that app. And I was just like, well, hey, that's embarrassing. Like, how do I how do I stop that from ever happening again? But also, like, it just showed me like I have no way to measure this. And so I
Yeah.
built a way to like measure it and to validate that it works every time, or as close to every time as possible.
Yeah.
And so the way I do that is I like built a CLI for this CLI that like does all of this validation for it, including having a number of different fixtures. So like, let's go look at the Next.js one, for example. There's Next.js with conflicting middleware in there. There's just a basic example. There's a basic example where they are already using Auth0. Well, we want to get them off of that quickly. We also have a partial install, and we have like a TypeScript strict one, like is it failing TypeScript in any way? Like make sure that all of that is working. And this conflicting middleware is like you're composing middleware together, so we have to like build ours to work together within it. And so I needed a way to like be assured that in these 5 use cases for Next, that it's always going to install correctly. And then some of the other ones, like I'm just getting going, like just a simple Kotlin app. Will it build and work correctly in a Kotlin app? Or same thing with Go. And then like React, I have the same kind of like really drawn out ones. And so I needed a way to do that. And I worked with Claude to build this. And so I can just say pnpm eval, and I want to know the quality of it. And we'll say, we'll run it for Next. And so this is going to run. Oh, what happened?
What you're talking about, I'll give you a little second to think about that.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is it's so real. And we've been putting on these MCP night events, with WorkOS, like all of last year. We're going to kick off some more this year. And it's like a new type of stress that I've seen from speakers, where even the seasoned pros who live on stage are stressing out, like just repeating an example over and over again to see what types of, what's the range of results that they could expect
Yes.
during their demo. It's like, it's truly chaotic, and it does kind of make the demos fun, but oh my gosh, like it's a demoing it with a client or like on stage is like so terrifying.
Yeah. It's really scary, and it could just totally go off the rails too, right? Like these models are getting a lot better, so it's unlikely to do that, but yeah, that is a thing for sure. So the next one is broken for some reason. I need to go figure that out, but I ran it just with SvelteKit, and I'm telling it to run with -- quality. So it's going to do some like static evals on it. Like, oh, did it correctly install this thing in there? So let's go look at like what that actually looks like for an eval in here. And I think there's a SvelteKit grader, and in here, it's like just going to do a number of these different checks. Like, did it actually install authkit SvelteKit into package.json? Did it, in a file that looks like hooks.server, add in, like, is it including authkit in there somewhere? And then inside of the server, like, is it adding in the callback route in there somewhere? So these are like some very basic, simple checks that it's doing. But then it also does a quality grader, and I don't actually know where the command for that is. We'll find it. There it is. Yeah. So it's got like quality, and it will like actually send this to another model and ask it to do grading of it based on what we expect the project structure to look like. Use AI to validate that it actually looks like that. And then it'll give us a grade for each one of these, or like a number out of 5, like how well did it do for everything. And that's like, quality dimensions across like code style, minimalism, error handling, and is it idiomatic? And so it'll just do that for all of them. I'm only running the one right now, and it built like we built like a little TUI to like keep track of it. So up here, it's kind of showing some of the logs that will go by. And down here, it's just showing me like all of the examples that are currently running, which in this case is only SvelteKit. And it's completed successfully. All of the checks, the initial checks passed. Now it's doing that quality grading, this one here. And it's saying, oh yeah, it'll give me a detailed log so I can go look at it in this run. And yeah, quality is 100% success rate here. The first attempt got 100%, and with a retry also got 100%. So it looks like SvelteKit is pretty solid each time. And so we can like just run that again. But this time we'll just say, I think it's verbose. Yeah. We'll just run it, and we'll run it for all of them. And so now it's running 8 of them at a time. And we've got 34 to run. So it'll take a little while to run each of those, but it'll run 8 at a time and do the quality grading for each of them. and give us an overall grade of like how this AI installer is working across all of these different scenarios. And the cool thing is I can just like, these are all self-contained scenarios, so I can just add as many of them as I want. And then, it's obviously like eating a lot of tokens and things to run the installer and then to run the grader and all of that. But it will at least give me like some peace of mind, like, oh yeah, we're really solid in a Next.js app, or oh no, we better, we have a lot of work to do. And the really nice thing is like with the detailed output that it creates. Let me go see if we still have that in the no, the TUI kind of took over the screen. But like when it fails, which it will fail on some of these right now, I think it will give us like some really good output that I can literally just like copy and paste into Claude and say, this run resulted in these. How can we ensure that this never happens again? And it will go update those skills to ensure that it does like extra checks on them to make sure that we never hit that, or like as best as it can, make sure that we never hit that scenario again.
That's awesome. So I have so many questions. One, are you using any type of framework or like starting point for these evals?
Yes. Great question. The answer is kind of. Um,
There's a Tmux 3? Shit, I got to update.
I think, is there? There might be. I think that's what I have, right?
Yes, there's a Tmux version 3. I didn't realize there was a Tmux 3 book.
Got it. Yeah, I hate that part of Tmux. I can never guess what the version command is. Yes, I'm using the for all of this work. Like the CLI is using the Claude Agent SDK, which is basically like a programmatic Claude Code that you can call, and you can like continue conversations with it. And the big difference between this and like the Anthropic AI SDK is that it basically is just bundling Claude Code, and so it has a number of tools that it can call, like Bash or like Find or web search, or any of these tools here, text editor. And so these are things that if I were using like the Vercel AI SDK or something, I would probably have to like implement on my own, and it would be more of a degraded experience. But that comes at the cost of only being able to use the Anthropic models.
Got it. Yes.
But in this, in their docs, they have right here a test and evaluate section. If we look at it, I'll bring that a little bigger. They've got these 4 pages on it. So defining success criteria, developing test cases, using the eval tool, and reducing latency in that. And so, as any good vibe coder would do, I copied the links to all 4 of these. I pasted them into Claude, and I said, let's make some evals. And it came up with this whole TUI framework that we're using to run all of these tasks. 8 of them in parallel. 3 of them have already succeeded. So 3 React examples are done, and the rest are running. And if they fail, they'll retry a couple of times and then like go to a full failure, but they'll give out a bunch of really good logs on like what we can do to improve it. And that was through several iterations of this. I think I released like 2 different versions of this internal CLI to test this, but the results have been stellar. Like I have way more confidence in a lot of these. I just added all of these like non-front end ones, like the Python, Node, Ruby, Go, PHP, Kotlin, .NET, and Elixir. Those are all brand new ones, including the SvelteKit one as well. And so I have less confidence in those, only because you can see like I have several React examples, but I only have 1 Go example.
Got it. Sure.
And so I'm building that in, but I wanted to just get a release out with like at least those in like an experimental mode, so that we can get some real world examples. Because honestly, that's like where the best use cases are going to come from, is real world projects.
Yeah. Okay. Second question.
Yeah.
Is this something that you can, okay. Is this like a pre-build step that you could run inside of something like, like GitHub Actions, get, or like workflows or whatnot, something that you could like, so that you don't have to run on your hardware with your like token API key, etc. You could put this onto some type of platform like a GitHub Actions.
Yes, you totally could. Technically, there is nothing stopping you. I don't do that because literally each one of these is like a 4-minute run uh, of actually using like Claude, and
Hmm.
so they're each eating so many tokens. Plus, then the grading that they're going to do afterwards is like an additional round of
Hmm.
tokens. And so I don't have that set up right now. This is more of a thing that I'm going to work on. Like I'm going to run manually as I'm changing these things.
Hmm.
But I needed some kind of like basic framework in there because like
Interesting.
when I first started this, I was just like in my temp directory creating like a running create React
Yeah.
app or create Tanstack app or create Next app and like just running those manually. And it was like, yeah, it works for those very vanilla use cases. And these are all still pretty vanilla too, but at least they're like in different scenarios. And so we can see it actually took 2 tries for the conflicting auth one in React to,
Interesting.
um, to go about. So there's something that could be improved in there, and we'll find
Sure.
it.
Okay. Third question. Obviously, this takes like a ton of tokens to run every time, and I imagine that the cost benefit is still far above like hiring human labor to like test all of these things manually.
Yeah.
Um, that said, do you think that there's a way that you could, um, what is it? Like calcify these into non-AI tests? And would that be useful, or not? Like a test suite that you could, like a deterministic test suite that you could run on a next app, that evaluates the how the agent performed in doing the task. Like is there a caveat there, or is that maybe like an ideal state, like kind of a non-deterministic handoff to like a deterministic evaluation process?
I'm not sure I fully understand.
Like, I guess the question is like, will this process kind of like in an ideal state always go through, and maybe I don't understand it enough to ask a reasonable question, but like, will it always be kind of like AI based end to end?
Yeah. Like I have a lot of unit tests in here too,
Mhm.
for like the different pieces of the CLI that are just using V-test. I think there's 287 unit tests, and these are crucial for preventing regressions and for actually testing like, is this actually doing what we expect it to do?
Yeah.
Like the CLI as a whole. Um, a lot of times, like it's a lot easier, especially in a project like this, for me to like review the tests and make sure that they're actually testing things that I would expect, um, and like focus more of my time there rather than on the actual implementation code, even though I
Mhm.
know like at a very intimate level how this is implemented, the architecture that we're doing, and all of that. Um, the tests are what are going to like it's the feedback loop. There was an article from AMP, the other coding agent, a few days ago called feedback loopable or something to that effect, and it was a really cool example of like building out this like simulation with like HTML canvas where like you have like
Yeah.
balls in a circle and they're like bouncing off of it and there's like one exit out of it, and like determining that and like determining the collisions and like where bugs might appear in that's all
Mhm.
running in canvas, and it's not like something that an LLM can easily like understand. So the article is all about adding in the right bits of context or the right outputs, or console logs to allow the model to confidently like get into a feedback loop where it can see, oh, I made a mistake, or oh, it's not behaving in this way that I would expect, so I need to go change something. And that way you're not like trying to describe like, well, when it hits the sidewall at this angle that I'm guesstimating based on my protractor up on the screen, like
Yeah.
you're actually like giving it the opportunity to evaluate itself. And in like
Interesting.
99% of the code that we write, it's going to be unit tests that do that. Like that's
Mm,
the feedback loop. The model's going to run the tests. Oh, did something break? Let me go look at that and figure out why. And
got it.
you know hopefully not just delete the tests and, and say that's good enough. Definitely been in that loop before, and it's not great. So I have those, but then like these are actually like the way that we laid out this CLI. If we go up into the actual code for that, it's in these skills. So like the Next.js, they're just like actual skills that Claude would use. The Claude Agent SDK can also use them. And
Mm,
so like the meat of this is just in Markdown. And so we need a way to say, does this chunk of Markdown mean that the model is going to correctly give us our expected result, like
got it.
greater than 90% of the time? And you can see, like, as we go through, like, we've only had, the React issue here. That one took 2 attempts, but it did get it. But every other one of them is passed on the first try.
Hmm.
All of the criteria that I'm like checking for. So, could the criteria that I'm checking for be bad? Possibly, and like that'll come out. But this
Sure.
gives me like a baseline. I like to think about it like, do you wear an Apple Watch? You don't. You're a watch guy, so you look
Yeah,
down on
yeah, yeah,
us.
yeah. I actually don't have anything on right now, which is disturbing.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, I have never owned an Apple Watch, no.
okay, um, that's fair. Well, for those of us who have, like, the Apple Watch tells you like your heart rate, and it tells you how many calories you're burning and
Mhm.
things like that, right? They might as well be made up numbers, because like where it's actually like, determining how many calories I'm burning by sitting on my wrist, that I have sitting on a desk all day, like, it might not be totally accurate, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, because it's like a accurate enough baseline that just compared to like itself is
Mm,
giving you like, oh, am I doing better or worse? Like, you don't
yeah,
necessarily have to say like, I definitely burned 900 calories today running. Like, it doesn't matter if you did or didn't. Did I burn more today than I did yesterday? Am I improving gradually based on the broken measurements that the watch is able to do? And
yeah,
that's like a good enough, scenario for most cases. And then like you can you can supplement that with like real world things, and that would be like going to the doctor and getting, I don't know, like the like physical tests or blood work done, or
yeah.
or things like that. And so those are like, that would be like the real world checks where people are actually running this. That's like the blood work at the doctor's office that's actually telling me what's going on. But these are
Mhm.
like the baselines. Oh, see, .NET. I don't even have .NET installed on this machine right now, so it's just gonna fail. um
So this is like, it's like the day over day on the stock exchange,
yeah,
right? Where it's like, "Hey, the number's going up or the number's coming down." You have like a sense of things even if you don't know exactly like what stocks are contributing to like the market going up or down, and but the directionality of it is itself helpful information.
yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, I feel like we're about at our goal time for like how much we were going to hang out today. Is there anything else that you wanted to show off, or
Uh,
like discuss?
mm, I got a lot, but we'll do this again, I'm sure, because
Oh
there's a lot
yeah,
more.
of course, of course.
And this
This is
is
only
literally my third day with agent teams and things like that. So I'm still figuring out the workflows for it and all, but it's quite exciting to be here right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess talk a little bit more about that because both of us are seasoned developers, and I'm curious, what does it feel like to kind of be working in this way? I know a lot of people have a hard time emotionally letting go of the code. Um, I know for me, I am still kind of figuring out how to like hold some level of control over the output.
Mhm.
Like I guess that bar for me right now is like I keep hitting this, like I'll ask for a change, and because I don't have like a good eval system yet, I'll ask for a change, and then it'll change stuff that I didn't want to, which really shatters my confidence that I can just like vibe code something.
Mhm.
But it seems like kind of the answer to that is not necessarily losing confidence, but building a better eval system. Um, and so I'm curious, like, how does it feel to you now that you've kind of utilized so many tokens and are building up this system? Kind of what are your like pillars for how to kind of like take vibe coding to that like professional level?
Yeah. I'll say I'll say a couple of things that might make you feel bad or not great, and that is this is just exposing the truth that has always been there, in that we're factory line workers, and our job is to ship widgets or ship things, and it doesn't have to be the prettiest code in the world.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. Move on to the next thing, and that's always been that case. And uh, but this is also like exciting because it is forcing us, at least at this point, to like rely more on like the actual like engineering side of things.
Mm,
So it's not like the day to day like minutia of the code. It's more like how we're planning bigger things from a bigger like piece, like how things fit together, that like actual like architecture and engineering
yeah.
stuff. And that's what goes into like the spec writing that make all of these tools just sing. And so like we're getting better at that. Like it's forcing us to get better at that. We rely less on the code, but I also think that that's like a good thing. Like the code is more of an artifact that's generated. And yes, you should review the code in a tool like this, where it's like a CLI that if the code's not perfect, I can fix it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
For like more of like the SDK work that I do, that's code that's actually being shipped into other people's projects. And so like I'm very much more like in tune with the actual output and like what's
Yeah.
going on, because I don't want to ship slop. That's bad for WorkOS. It's bad for me. It makes us look bad, and it's not, and it can affect other people's apps. So I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
In a project like this, like I guess like that's what I mean. Like knowing when and how to deploy this. I still use AI to write 99.9% of the code in the SDKs, but I am like very like it has to generate the code that I would have written or be better than
Yeah.
what would have written for me to actually like merge it in and release it.
Yeah.
But in this, I can kind of play around a lot, and that's kind of freeing.
Yeah.
Like I think that like you know lines of code and all that are BS numbers that you shouldn't even care about. But like it's interesting in a project like this that has been around for like 2.5 weeks. Like it's almost 20,000 lines of TypeScript, and that's pretty much exclusively me. And
Yeah.
that's a lot to work with and to maintain.
Yeah.
But with AI, like it becomes much more trivial. If I'm like
Mm,
going down a bad route with these evals, which I did the first time around, I can
mhm.
refactor, and it took me like a day to refactor it.
Interesting.
It's not like once you start going down, like the cost of like switching lanes and going a different direction is like it's trending down to zero with these
Yeah.
tools, which is like very exciting because it lets you express yourself in a more creative way and try
Mhm.
things that you may have been more afraid to try because you don't want to waste time going down that rabbit hole. Well, now you can jump in and
Yeah.
out of rabbit holes, and it's easy to just like, yeah, nope, we'll just move over here and try it again. And all it costs you is some tokens, which is expensive, but you know,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, it's almost like professional athletes and having to focus a lot on recovery time, like how quickly can they get back in the game?
yep,
Um, and I love that direction you took it, the idea of being able to make mistakes faster, kind of go in the wrong direction, realize it's the wrong direction, and then kind of like spikes are becoming almost free now. You can like kind of try a bunch of ideas like all at once, and then pick the one that kind of feels the most extensible or kind of took you the furthest. Um, it does seem very exciting.
yeah.
Um,
And then with like the tools that are coming out now, like I think that 2025 was like the year of agents, and we're fully into that now with all of these different
mhm,
agents that are amazing. My prediction for a while has been that this year 2026 will be the year of orchestrating those, and so
mm,
we're seeing that with like the agent teams in Claude, and then there's other tools like I'm actually forgetting the name of it, or conductor, and others that like allow you to orchestrate across like work trees and things like that. And then you have like
yeah,
Gastown, and you have Ralph Wiggum loops, and you've got Claudebot or OpenClaw doing random things for you. Like it's very exciting, and like the way that I'm picturing that is like the me being stuck babysitting any individual Claude instance is like the bottleneck for me right now.
yeah,
And so like right now, I'm actually doing pretty good. I only have 2 instances of Claude going right now. I kind of cleaned things up. But this is like a little dashboard I built in Tmux to show me. And like this will be filled with like 15, 16 different instances that are running. And it'll tell me which ones are idle, which ones are waiting on input for me, and which ones are blocked on something else. And being able to like quickly jump in and out of things, like it's chaotic for sure. And oftentimes I'll like go back to the, the Claude instance, and I'll just start scrolling up like, what were we talking about? I
Yeah.
have no idea. And like I have to jump back in. So it's like constantly jumping in and out of things, which I think is a good skill in
Yeah.
its own. Before, like, coming to Work OS, I did consulting for 7 years. And so I would like every 3 months be jumping in and out of a project and or like a different project. And I leveled up so quickly in JavaScript because of that.
Yeah.
And now it's like there's no limit to how many projects I can jump around in and still be like intimately involved with every aspect of it and understand fully what I'm shipping. And
Yeah.
everything just goes a lot faster.
Yeah. That's cool. It's a fun skill to have to develop. It was funny, you reminded me of something I hadn't thought about in a long time. One of the biggest fights I ever got in at work was when I I said to one of the, staff developers on the team, that we're like, all of us were just like blue collar code workers,
Hmm.
like, and he was just so deeply offended, that the knowledge that he had accumulated would ever be like, it would be considered like that, as opposed to like a doctor or a lawyer, or like, something like that. I just remember, like, even then just being like, I don't think you have any idea like where this is going, like, we're the, whatever, it's like we're a stepping stone to like all of this stuff that like is eventually going to happen. And like, everything evolves, everything
Yeah,
evolves.
for sure. And it's inevitable at this point. Like
Yeah.
this, especially with these new models, like this is not a bubble. If the innovation stopped right now, our industry is forever changed. And
Yeah.
so you have to adapt to these tools, uh, kind of whether you like it or not, I think, because they're coming and they're here to stay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a new world, but it can be exciting. And there's a lot of like workflow. I love tinkering with this stuff, so it's like really
Yeah.
fun to just see that. It's
Cool.
it's now done. Just to kind of like wrap it up, this
Yeah,
whole
let's show
eval,
it.
yeah, it's running and like it's telling me like, oh, then the vanilla Next.js example, I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. Whereas like I just jumped around. Here, React with a partial install gets a 3.8 out of 5. So it'll tell me like some things that I could do better, and I can literally just take this in, paste this whole thing in when it's done outputting each one of them back into Claude and be like, let's fix these skills, and it'll go fix like add rules in to like prevent it from hitting the things that are causing it to lose points, so that next time we run it, it'll be higher.
Love it. All right, let's wrap it up. Let's see. This guy over here. Well, thanks, Nick, so much for joining us, kind of showing off your orchestration skills and how you are using agent teams in Claude Code to build out the next step of like AI for Work OS and Work OS applications. Thanks for watching. If you like this type of content where we just kind of showcase a little bit more of the process behind what we're building at Work OS, let us know with a like and or subscribe, and just let us know what you'd like to see next from us. And we'd be happy to do that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
I didn't realize we were live.